Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Tips Cut the Gibberish. Come on in. I'm excited to be here with you today. And what we want to talk about today is the gibberish in your head, right? There's a quote that I heard recently that I would like to share with you today. And it goes, how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. We'll come back to that in just a few minutes, okay? But if you think about it, give that a little bit of thought. Let me repeat it. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives, right? And if you really think about it, there's a lot of truth to that, right? Just this past weekend, I had a very busy weekend celebrating my twins' birthday and helping my daughter and her boyfriend make a cake and so many different things. And it made me stop and think, I don't do these kind of things often enough, right? I mean, I'm at home all day by myself when I'm working. And then sometimes on the weekends, I try to stay home as much as possible. It is winter. Winter's not my most favorite season of the year. So, and I am an introvert. So that kind of explains that a little bit, right? But again, that quote really has a lot of meaning and depth to it, right? So, how we spend our days is how we spend our lives. How many of us, during our day think about that? Think about the impact of what we are doing, right now is how we are choosing to spend our lives, right? I absolutely enjoyed spending time with my family this weekend and going to the twins' first birthday party. Can't believe they're a whole year old already, but they are. Hello, Lachelle. Thank you so much for joining me today. But if you think about that, again, how many of us during our day think about how we're spending our days is how we're spending our lives? That's really a powerful statement, right? It really is a powerful quote. So I had something interesting happen recently. I decided how I wanted to spend a specific day. There were some things that had been on my want to do list, for a really long time. So I finished a book that I had been reading for about 6 months. And like I said before, this past weekend, I spent time with my family and with the twins, my extended family, etc. And then I helped my daughter and her boyfriend make a cake on Sunday afternoon. So I was very intentional with my time because I made it a priority to do those things, right? And I do this type of thing, of course, when I am working, but I don't do it naturally or often enough in my personal life, right? And yes, I put things on my calendar for my personal life, and things so I don't, overbook myself for a lack of a better term, but I don't designate a specific time to do whatever it is sometimes, especially on the weekends. Yes, we may have things we have to do or, an event we have to attend, etc. But am I intentional? Not so much. Not like I am with work. When I put things on my calendar for work or, tasks that I need to do for clients, etc., or a meeting I need to have with a client, whatever it is, I'm very intentional with that. And I make sure it's set for a specific time and I make sure I'm there at that time for that to take place. Not so much in my personal life sometimes, but I am making an effort to be more intentional about that in my personal life. So let's talk about that quote again. How we spend our days is how we spend our lives. A big part of being successful, I think, right? I think I like to think about how I want to feel at the end of the day. When I decide how I want to feel at the end of the day, what happens is I make the choices and be intentional with what I'm doing. so that at the end of the day, I will feel the way I want to feel, or I will feel successful or accomplished, whatever it is, the feeling that I'm looking for at the end of the day by completing the things I need to complete, right? So sometimes I may want to quiet my mind, quiet all that gibberish that's in my head, right? And I don't want to be thinking about work stuff or all the things I have to do the next day when I'm with my family. Say like on a Sunday, if I'm helping a family member make a cake or spending time with my family, whatever it is, I don't need or want to be thinking about, okay, tomorrow's Monday. What do I have to do tomorrow? So I have to be intentional about all my choices, right? In order to achieve that, right? And sometimes I may have to do a correction step to get me there, or maybe adjust things just a little bit in order to stay focused in the moment that I'm in at that given time, right? And then, of course, so I can reach the goal of staying calm and staying in the moment with my family, or whatever it is that I'm doing at that given time. Right. So I'd like to hear from you. Is this something that happens in your life as well? Maybe you do something similar. Maybe you take that correction step or something of that effect to help you stay intentional or stay in the moment with what you're doing. So if you're watching it live or later, you can use #replay and reply. I would love to hear that from you. Also, how we handle our day when it doesn't go the way we think it should be going is interesting. Sometimes you just need to give yourself some grace when everything doesn't go your way or the way you had hoped, right? And remember to put in that correction step or adjust things when you need to, right? So again, I would love to hear from you if this happens to you, or, how intentional you are with your time and the events that you have to be present for. Lachelle, I know you have a lot of events that you do within your business and with your family, because you have a very large family. For those of you that don't know Lachelle Atkins, she is a mother of 15 children. So she has a very large family. So I'm sure there's a lot of family moments and a lot of different events that happens with her family. So let me know, how this affects you, if it does affect you. How intentional are you with reaching that goal and keeping yourself calm, right? And not letting all that gibberish take over. Because sometimes I've spoken a weekly live recently about that gibberish and how we give it permission to take over, and we don't need to do that, right? Thank you again so much, Lachelle, for joining me here live today. And I'll see you next Tuesday again with Tuesday Tips and Stop the Gibberish.